I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am Adam. What do you guys think of that? Hey, that was good, wasn't it? That was a. Please tell me that was a good Batman accent. Batman accent.
No, if that was Batman, no.
That was very unexpected
that
for us.
Threw me the fuck off real quick.
I didn't know we were even starting. And you came out with that.
I was waiting for like a 3, 2, 1. Let's get into the podcast, but no.
Yeah.
Well, oops. I don't know. I just wanted to get started. We're supposed to be professionals. Well, yeah, that's definitely staying in. Anyway, guys, welcome back to the Ramlock Radio, and we will be talking about something that we all love in our hearts: video games. I don't know why I'm making these gestures. They're just so weird. But anyway, so and I thought, why not talk about Batman? Hence the I am vengeance part, you know. So before I start. Before I start, I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on Batman? I want to hear some very honest opinions. I know we've got some comic readers with us.
Well, I mean, first of all, I just want to put it out there. I love Batman, but I also love Marvel. Before we get anyone in the chat or in the whatever they're viewing this from, before we get anyone lashing out and saying, "Oh my God, you hate Marvel and stuff," I think I can speak for all of us. We love both. But I'd be honest, I think I lean more towards DC for the story and some of the characters, 100% definitely. And Batman's definitely one of my top hero vigilante people. I don't know about how Gavin feels or yourself.
It's weird. Growing up, I loved Batman, the Batman movies, the Batman comics, and the Batman animated TV show and stuff. That was my childhood. And then, and I grew up with Marvel and stuff as well. But just, I don't know. I don't see lately DC. I just don't care for DC anymore. I just fell out with DC. I'm a Marvel fanboy through and through. Deadpool top on, got fucking Punisher tattoo up here. He's a better vigilante, and then you got Spider-Man up here. I'm
I think now that you said that, you gotta show those tats. Every time we talk about superheroes now, Goku.
It's just every time. Today's episode is Punisher.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm kind of in the same boat because I thought I like DC, but I do like a bit of Marvel. But it's just I don't think I'm as in depth in my comics as Keen is because I'm more into. Yep.
I just want to interrupt real quick. I wouldn't say that I'm an expert on all comics. I'm not. I would say that if anything, I read more backstory and stuff into DC and storylines and how they all change and twist and stuff. I'm more invested in that than I am Marvel, but I would agree 100% that the Marvel films have just there's no competition between Marvel and DC films. I
would give DC, when it comes to movies, DC animated movies.
Yeah,
animation, DC.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Unreal.
Yeah. DC animated films are really interesting, especially when looking back. But at the same time, I think we can definitely have a look at them, especially Aquaman, which is a film that I kind of enjoyed when I watched it on Sky. But that's a conversation for another time.
I haven't actually seen Aquaman.
No,
I've been told it's really good, but I need to. I don't know if it's my lack of interest in the hero himself, or if it's just because at the time that's when DC was going through its most painful moment with Justice League just being released and stuff. It was a hard time, and I think that's what stopped it. The same as Shazam. I haven't even seen that yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
But I've been told both are quite good.
After Justice League. I haven't even seen Wonder Woman.
Oh really?
Well, Wonder Woman's pretty decent.
I know Wonder Woman's supposed to be decent, but I just haven't watched it. I've literally only watched the Man of Steel movie, Batman vs Superman, and Justice League. They're the only ones.
You've watched the worst ones.
I mean, I will 100% say I actually am one of the only people that enjoyed Batman vs Superman.
Well, I know that I don't want to go too much into it because I know this episode isn't about that, but I will say that there's parts in Batman vs Superman that are incredibly good, incredibly loyal to the plot and to just the Batman franchise and Superman franchise, and then there's just the odd parts that I think people take away and blow up to ruin the film, which I think happens with every single film and stuff. But I mean, I don't want to get too much into that, like we said, because that's not what
that can be a topic.
Yeah, but this is definitely stuff we can talk about because I do have a thing or two to say about all the DC films and definitely all the Marvel films, which we'll definitely be getting into. But But like going back to Batman and video games, like you'd think like with superheroes and video games, it's like a match made in heaven because superheroes are kind of built on this idea of they can do the impossible, and so like and with games you can also do the impossible. But
I think that's it, isn't it? It's getting. I mean, a film can get you so close to feeling like the actual protagonist, but a game puts you into the controls of that protagonist.
Yeah, definitely.
So absolutely. It definitely works, 100%.
Yeah, like but then you just look at like stuff like Superman 64, which is considered the worst game on the Nintendo 64. And I'm trying to like think back to like all the Batman games. I can't really think of any. The only thing.
Oh, there's loads. I remember absolutely tons. There are lots of side scrollers like beat 'em ups.
Like the browser games.
No, I used to they were actually on disc. Yeah. I used to play one. I think it was like PlayStation 1, and my mum used to pick up the second. She's not a gamer in any way, my mum, but she used to pick up the second controller, and we just used to be two badass Batmen roaming the streets of Gotham, beating people.
Like I remember,
it was awesome.
I'm Batman.
I'm almost certain, but I'm pretty sure. Was it Batman Forever or Batman whatever one Mr. Freeze is in? But I'm almost certain that had a video game.
Oh, Batman and Robin.
I believe it did. It was Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin. And then
Batman Forever's the one with freezing. Batman and Robin's the one with Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Yeah. No, I remember. I remember playing as George Clooney as a kid.
Getting
my back car.
Best Batman, you mean? Obviously, the best Batman. Bat nipples.
Bat nipples and bat butt.
Don't forget bat credit card.
That was such a terrible
film. It was awful.
But
we're going on a tangent again.
The Batman Begins movie game. Like, yes. I had that when I was a kid.
That was actually decent.
I never played it.
It was all right.
I never played it.
It was like it was like one of those games where like it like played the movie scenes in the game when you completed levels and whatnot. But like it was, I don't know. For me, it was so hard because I didn't understand controls. That it was a lot more. That's the first time. Yeah. Not good stealth, but like stealth. But like it was like the first time I learned that you can click the left stick because
I think
because like
I didn't know this pressed.
Yeah, because like it definitely took a lot of inspiration from Splinter Cell and all those stealth games that were out at the time. But like when you press the left click, I was like, oh, you can do that.
Well, I think just talking on that, the fact that you mentioned that it had movie like cut into it, like it was made. I think there's two primary video games for superheroes. It's movie adaptations, and then there's just that character. But obviously, we've got to bear in mind that these characters aren't just cinematic characters; they're obviously literature and stuff like that. So, like that Batman Begins game was based off the movie, whereas the series the trilogy that we're going to be talking. Well, no, it's a series. It's not a trilogy anymore. The games we're going to be talking about today were obviously games on their own. They were based off of different things from the universe. Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Speaking about game movies, have any of you ever seen or played the Superman Returns game?
Oh, is that the one with Metallo?
Like, yeah, it's got Metallo in
it. It was a weird game because like
the city
had a health bar. I only had played a demo, but like for some reason Metallo's name was always a weird one because I always played in my head that you have to say Metallo, Great Tallow. Like Metallo, Great Tallow. I don't know.
Like a Power Ranger.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Metallo, Great Tallow.
Oh my days! Like, but yeah, like I think from that we can probably like talk about the game series that we're gonna be talking about today, and that is the Batman Arkham series, which I think, looking back, it's amazing how a game by this British company. British game developer kind of like changed the game in terms of how we play video games, how combat system work in games, and basically how superheroes are presented and basically I can't speak today, how like gameplay and story is like presented in video game. Like, would you guys not agree?
Yeah.
Well, it was definitely a turning point for games, especially like you mentioned. The combat is the most praised thing I think about the games, 100%. The story being probably the second, and just the fidelity to the characters in comics and stuff. But can I just throw out a question before we do start going really in depth? I mean, when did you guys get introduced to the game series? Like, what was either your first game or like what level of game releases were they at before you started playing it? Because I think for me, I didn't start playing until I think they'd either just brought it out or it was out for a while, Arkham City, and then I went back and played. I think I played Arkham Asylum first, but I did. But it was around that time that Arkham City was already released that I started playing them.
Yeah, like I think I probably first heard of it during when like it wasn't a huge thing. Like I was just watching the E3 demos. I remember like when I don't think I watched E3 demos at that point, but like I remember like just started watching more of those E3 demos as the years went by. But like I remember it was one where it was the hospital level where like Batman was just taking out all the people in that hospital wing, and when I first watched it, I was like, yeah, that's all right. But then like it wasn't until like later on when the game was released, I kind of like realized how big this franchise, how much of a huge hit this game was to me. What was to like everyone, like it won BAFTA awards. Everyone, the voice acting was praised. Like it's actually amazing. And I actually like went back to like find that footage, but I could not find that exact footage I watched when I watched it ages ago. I'm not sure if it got taken down or like if YouTube's just not like recommending it anymore. But it's just so it's kind of like one of those things that's in your memory, but that you feel that you remember very well, but it's just not there. So
yeah, I know what you mean.
So what about you, Goku? Gavin, have you? What was your first thing?
Like, so were you then? You were there from the beginning? You were there as soon as Game 1 came out. You were there for Arkham Asylum, basically.
Yeah, inadvertently. Like I said, like it was. I didn't have too much of an interest when I was looking at it, but like it was only till later till I had an interest.
Did you start with Arkham Asylum then? Like, was it just Arkham Asylum that was out and released, and then played it before City?
It was only Arkham Asylum that was out at the time, so like
right.
So like I was definitely there for Game 1, you could say.
Right.
Yeah.
So, no, well, I'm similar to Keen. My friend had played Asylum, and he was going on to me about how great Asylum was, and then he said to me, "Oh, the sequel's coming out."
Yeah.
I was like, right. Right, okay. I was like, whatever. And at the time, I was sort of like, I was in my teenage years. All I cared about was music and girls. I didn't give a shit about anything. I was just like,
fuck Batman.
I was like, if it's not rock and roll and it doesn't,
fuck Batman,
and it doesn't have anything else, I don't care. But like, so I was like, right, whatever. And then I think it came to Christmas, and my parents were like, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, I think City had just came out maybe shortly before or just around Christmas anyway, and I was like, just get me Batman Arkham City. I want to see what this game's like. So I got City, fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And then I only just recently played Asylum.
All right.
Like literally when I was playing through this Batman Arkham games on stream, that was the first time I had actually played Asylum. I'd never played Asylum. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But like,
I think it's always a bit when you go back to a game after you, like if you start on the second and you go back, it always seems like it's lacking so much because it technically is.
Yeah.
And I don't think the
definitely.
excitement's still not there for
you're
it.
like sitting there hitting buttons that you think would work, and you're like, this doesn't work because this isn't in this game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like it's kind of weird when I look back at like everyone who played it and were ranking it in the comments of other videos. I was like, they put Arkham Asylum 1 at the bottom. I was like, what? What is this blasphemy?
To be fair, I think I'd put another game at the bottom of that list.
Wait, hang on. Are we talking about the ranking of the Batman Arkham games?
Batman Arkham games.
Which game would go at the very bottom?
Yeah.
I don't know, like, but
it's a hard one.
What?
I can't choose. I can and I can't choose, and we'll get into this later in this.
Mine has to be. Mine can only be Arkham Knight because of the fact that I haven't actually played Origins. And I don't think I ever will play Origins because everyone else says it's that bad that I'm just like, well, I'm not going to play that, but that's clearly the worst one, but I can't put that at the bottom of the list.
You see, I didn't mind Origins as much as people are. I think the boss fights were insane. They were really good. They made it so you had to fight so many bosses and there were different difficulty levels, and it's just because it was you go back in time. You don't actually time travel, but you go back in time to where Batman's early. No one really knows of him. The police are enemies with him still, and you've got to fight you in, and you're getting hunted down and all this kind of stuff, and it just throws in different voice actors. It's a different company who make it, and that's why I think people hated it so much, just because they weren't getting what they were used to. And I think that change like scared them that it was going to be a bad game. So in their head they went into it going, "This is terrible. This is terrible."
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that bad. It's actually not a bad game.
See, the only thing I know that annoyed people and sort of put me off it as well from ever playing it was I remember when they announced it. Everything was being said about because City was done, Joker was dead. Spoilers for anybody that hasn't played a fucking 10-year-old game at this point. But Joker dies, end of City, and everyone was saying, right, that's it, Joker's done. There'll be no more Joker, no Joker whatsoever. New game comes out, and they're like, look,
Joker's back.
But it wasn't even that. The thing was, they turned around, and they were like, look, there's no Joker. Here's Black Mask.
Yeah.
You then play I watched the gameplay footage of it and stuff, to get the story, but got the story. Next thing you know, Black Mask takes his mask off. There's fucking young Joker.
I'm like, Joker.
I'm like, why? Just
do
one game fair, without him.
I thought Troy Baker did a really good job,
but
also
get me wrong,
definitely.
He's played fantastically, but it's just the fact that.
But it's like when you said that the fact that they said, "Oh, don't worry, there's no Joker," and that, and then Rocksteady developed the game again, like, "Oh, Joker's beyond the grave, still infecting Batman's mind and all that kind of stuff."
He is dead, but he's just fucking people's brains up.
To be fair, I loved him. I loved his role in Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
It was one of my favourites. I mean, I know we're going to be probably going through the games in order. I know, Snow, you've got a bit of an order for them, but just to touch on it, I think I don't mind the Joker being in them all, but I get what you're saying with the Origins thing. It did feel like it did need a change, and they kind of brought it back to some familiarity for some reason.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have some. I have some disagreements with Arkham Knight. That's.
Oh no, I have disagreements with Arkham Knight as well. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think speaking of story, what did you guys think of the story of Arkham Asylum? Because I looked up that one of the writers was Paul Dini, who laid the foundations of the modern DC universe with his work in DC Animations and with Bruce Timm, who I think is definitely a huge topic for another time, especially with his reaction with DC fans. But what did you guys think of the story? Because I'm aware of, because I did a bit of research and I know where it definitely gets its inspirations from. Did you think it was a very interesting story to put Batman into this mental asylum where it was run by literally criminals essentially?
Well, I didn't think it wasn't unoriginal, but at the same time it did feel very familiar. It's something. I mean, the video games to an extent can only do so much. Otherwise they lose all structure. I agree. So I mean, it begs the question for plot holes, why couldn't Batman do this? Why couldn't he call the Batjet in to do something and all this kind of stuff? And I think in some cases they made it.
He does, doesn't he?
He calls it into airdrops and stuff, but why couldn't he
and then there's the Batmobile bit where he finally calls the Batmobile in, but it's just to fucking get rid of Bean.
Yeah, it's kind of you think, well, why didn't he utilise them more and stuff? Which obviously a lot of games in that scenario have those plot holes, and I think Rocksteady did a good job at kind of covering them up. But the overall story with the criminals overtaking it, I think they did a good job. They did the right thing with having the Joker at the lead of it. I think there could have been other villains up there, and it would have worked. But with the Joker, it's that unknown. You don't know what he's going to do.
I think the only problem I ever had with the story was the end of the story. The whole Titan Joker thing. I get that you want to have it that it's gonna be a tough fight. Because it's when it's Batman versus skinny Joker, everyone's like, well, Batman's gonna just deck him once in the face and he's gonna be out cold. But it's you gotta remember, from comic books and other sources and stuff to do with Batman, the Joker, for a skinny fucker, the Joker will hurt you. He can he can take a beating, and two, he can hit you harder than you can think.
Well, that is one thing that is shown in Origins. He actually takes I think they're in a church at one point, and he actually takes a good hiding from Batman, and he's still standing laughing about it, sort of thing. So it was quite not fun to watch, but it's good to see that he doesn't have to be a monstrosity to fight, and he doesn't have to use all these stuff.
I don't suppose anyone remembers that trailer. It was a very weird trailer. I don't know when it came out, but it was a trailer where Batman and Joker would just meet each other in an alleyway, and then they get ambushed by these folks, and it just kind of showed Batman and Joker just fighting them off, and for some reason the two fought really well against the against those thugs. Like you could just see like Batman just like doing combos with Joker and whatnot, and it's like probably a bit.
Sorry, was this a game trailer or was this?
Yeah,
it was a game trailer. Like I don't know what it was for. I'm not sure if it was for like Arkham City or Arkham Asylum, but like I remember seeing.
Was it that Arkham style though? Was it?
Yeah, it was definitely in that Arkham style. Like I don't know, it was so long ago. Like it was so weird and so cool because I think everyone thought that they probably add like a DLC where like you could play as Batman and Joker and just like fight thugs together or something. Like it's kind of like in we see in Arkham City and Night, which we'll go into.
I'm gonna guess it might have been for City, considering that it was in like an alleyway and stuff, and the asylum you stuck to the asylum, you don't really move. The open world open.
It might have been, but like I think I want to go back to what you say about like in the final. Speaking of bosses, since Gavin mentioned like with the boss battles. Mm-hmm. The boss battles in Arkham Asylum was so crap. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's very.
I'll give Bane's. I'm talking about football now. Bane's boss fight was good because it made sense for that character. Like you had to like hit him, distract him, so he runs into a wall, beat him up a bit, blah blah blah. The Poison Ivy boss fight annoyed the shit out of me.
Oh, in the plant. I remember that one.
The
now.
Plant one. What else was there? I've already discussed. I've already discussed.
You had Killer Croc in the sewer, which obviously they had to play to his strengths with the water and stuff.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it was mostly like it's similar to like the Titans, I think, because like most of the Titan boss fights were just like you just one of the characters just like running to you and you just like throwing your batarang, and it's like, and they kind of like copied the same thing with a lot of these boss battles, which is annoying.
Well, they were the closest ones to physical fighting, though, when you think about it. Because, like I said, the Killer Croc one, you mainly run across the floating platforms and he jumps up every now and again. Poison Ivy, you just do a lot of dodging. And Scarecrow, it's basically a platformer. It turns into a platform where you just
you just have to reach a goal point, and that's you.
Yeah, so basically, when you're doing the Titan fight with Joker, when you actually fight in Bane, they're the physical ones where you get to throw your fists about and stuff more than the other ones. And, I mean... I don't know if there is any other bosses in there, at least not main protagonist bosses. I mean, like, you get Zaz.
Zaz
Victor,
doesn't count.
Zaz.
He's a one hit.
It's kind of like, he's kind of like side
Harley
mission.
Quinn. There's Harley Quinn as well.
But her boss fight is she sends out minions, and then whenever you're done with all the minions, she just walks out, does a cart flip, does a backflip at you, and you knock her out in one punch.
Oh my days! I just remember that. Oh my days! Like, and also wasn't also Riddler was a weird one because like I think it kind of meant to be like a fight against wit or something, but like it's
that's what Riddler is. He wants to kind of show off his intelligence, doesn't he? He wants to show that he knows everything. And to be fair, people give Riddler a bad rap, but in the comics and cartoons, like he's a super genius. Like if he wanted to, he could keep Batman trapped and probably kill him, but his whole shebang, the whole thing he's about is he very egotistical to the point where he wants to show off his intelligence. So he makes really hard challenges and stuff. And then I mean the challenges and stuff that you had in the game, the riddles I loved. They were so clever, and I wish they'd have carried it on from Asylum the same way in the other games, but they changed it to a point where, I mean, not to go too much into the other games, but like Arkham Knight, you had to use the car a lot, and then in Arkham City, you still had some of those challenges and stuff, but it was more about...
The problem with City was they had way too much
stuff.
City had way too many. Then Knight went back, and we're like, right, we'll put less in, but now we're going to implement way too much of the Batmobile. And random gadgets, and you're like, I don't need this. Just give me the fucking... riddles.
Just give me normal Batman.
But speaking of Riddler, have any of you watched the Hush movie yet?
I've seen the Hush movie. No. No, I don't think I have.
Not yet.
The animated one.
I've been told it's brilliant, but I haven't seen it.
It's brilliant until the end.
Oh my days!
Because they just ruined an ending.
I don't want to spoil it. I want to watch it, so don't spoil it.
All right, fair enough. We'll stay away from Hush, but it could be something we talk about.
Yeah, one day.
But what about the rogue? I'm just thinking back about the rogues gallery. Like now, like I think when I first played Arkham Asylum, I was just impressed by like the range of like of the rogues gallery, because I think everyone can agree that like Batman has some of the best villains in like most of the.
Batman's got the most memorable as well as best like actual villains. Again, people give a lot of them slack because they think that they're rubbish. But if you actually look at not only the backstory but the stuff that they do and how they do it, it is actually really good. I think.
But I think that's why people whenever you discuss, if you ever want to discuss Marvel versus DC, a lot of people will put Spider-Man versus Batman. Obviously, powers are different, but when it comes to stories and the rogues gallery for both, they're the best out of the series, out of everyone, 100%. Out of the companies.
They have all the most memorable villains. I mean, I genuinely struggle to name an Iron Man villain.
Yeah.
I only know Captain America's Red Skull. I don't know any others and stuff. They're very basic, well-known villains. But Spider-Man, you've got all of them. You've got Green Goblin, you've got Hobgoblin, you've got Sandman, you've got all of them. Same with Batman. Yeah. You can just go and list a load of them.
Yeah, I think there are probably certain reasons why we remember them. I think, I probably don't. I think if I had read more comics and like understood these villains a lot better, then I probably like.
I think it's the comics, but also you got to bear in mind that the two popular animated shows were actually Spider-Man and Batman. They had the most popular. I mean, other than X-Men was really popular as well, but they did have the most popular animated shows for a single hero. So and what they had to do is obviously every episode they needed a new villain or at least a good story arc to carry on the same villain. So it kind of got drilled into our minds at a young age. Mm-hmm. Who these people are.
I think as well, as much as like when you think back to it, like who were that was, if I'm remembering rightly, it is just Joker, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, Bane, Poison Ivy, and Scarecrow.
Poison Ivy. Yep.
That's
I mean, you've got
Zaz is, if you're talking about boss fights, if you're talking about actual
and then you've got
villains.
Zaz, yes. But then as well, to be fair, there's the feature of Clayface, if you want to count Clayface.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
But if we're counting Clayface, I feel, because you don't really fight him, I feel you've also got to include Calendar Man that's in there.
But see, that's what I was going to say. So, like, you've got... But what I'm saying is you do technically see Clayface because you can do the...
Yeah.
You can do the thing. But then, obviously, the references to the other characters, I think, worked really well. Like, it mentioned everyone. Like
they did so well with the references. It was awesome. They had Mad Hatter. I think they had a Tea Party thing for the Mad Hatter. They had Catwoman stuff in there, and a lot of these were Riddler trophies, which did help find them and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But then they had those character bios to help with that as well. Like
the character bios, I sat through and read.
I remember.
I read them as well. Like
collecting the freaking the wee voice the records,
the recordings.
And sitting there, and I would just sit there and listen to them. I'd just be like, all right. They
put so much detail into the game. Yeah, it was awesome. It was actually like in a lot of the cases. I mean, the amount of when you think about it, because the game's obviously over time got larger and larger and larger. And I don't just mean like in terms of what you can do, but in terms of space, physical space. You were stuck in an asylum in the first one, and you could go to different places. There was a lot more loading screens because you had a lot more doors to open. You had to jump through a lot more obstacles and stuff. But you were still, when you think about the entire map, it was still fairly small. So the fact that they were able to include so much in such a small map. And I think they had the problem when they got bigger of the problem that a lot of open world games have is that
what do we add?
It is too much.
What do we fill into these gaps? And I think that's why they made it so the Riddler challenges
were so much.
You had to either drive somewhere or you had to fly really far or see something really far, and they really, I think they were really trying to their best to fill this world, but I think they struggled. Even though you could with Batman, it's fairly easy to fill the world, but at the same time, I can see from their point of view, you don't want to sidetrack from the main mission.
It's hard as well whenever you're dealing with, like, it's hard as well because when you're dealing with Arkham Asylum, you can't suddenly turn around and show like, you know, like something to do with something in Gotham City.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, at least with Gotham City, you had, or with Arkham City and with Night, you had the ability to put in certain locations that people can go, oh, that's that.
Yeah, different islands and stuff.
That's the place from that comic. You know, like you have the Iceberg Lounge. You have you
got Crime Alley. And
Crime
stuff.
Alley.
I never knew that.
You have,
this is actually the first time hearing that.
What do you call it? What do you call the casino dude?
Casino dude?
Falcone or Marconi?
No. It's like he's like Zeus. He's not Zeus.
Oh, Zeus. Yeah,
is
Zeus.
It Zeus?
Oh, I know
Zeus?
what you mean. It's like, is it Poseidon?
No. Well, there is Poseidon.
It's one of the big kings.
But it's like there is a dude called like something Zeus, isn't there?
I think so. I think isn't. Yeah, it's there. It's Maximus something that sacrifices people and stuff like that. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But you remember you have like whenever you're in city, there's like you turn around and like there's like you can see his like casino or like his building.
Yeah, I think that building is also like a riddle in that game.
Yeah,
like
that's defined as
a lot of the buildings
the max thing. But like like it's harder
also,
to
like,
do with Asylum when you don't have locations you can just go to and be like, oh, here we have this bit.
I think I felt that the Asylum was a lot. Obviously, again, because it's small, it did feel a lot more filled than the other ones. The other ones probably had the same amount of content. It's just they're more widespread. But I also feel that in the other ones, they had to try and find ways to make you travel the city or make you want to explore. Whereas Asylum, there was very little to explore, and though you could, they didn't have to do that because you were more than likely to run across it because it was such a small place.
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking like I think there was also an issue with like Asylum. Like once you did everything, like the world's pretty quiet once you like finish that final mission, because I remember just like walking around like Asylum, just like getting all the riddles, and like you just realize it's really quiet.
There's
now.
nothing
Like,
to do.
there's not much to do because like, everyone's put away. There's no. I don't think there's any music at all for most of the game.
No.
So you're just like literally running around trying to do all this, and it's a bit of a thing I wish Arkham Asylum did a bit more. I mean, could have did differently. And what I did like about Arkham City, where like they kind of like try to make the city more alive, which I think I did like. Although I heard people criticize that it's very repetitive. I'm not sure what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I would say City is somewhat repetitive, like because it is just going from building to building. You know what I mean? Like the traverse, you're just going building to building till you get to a certain location, and a lot of the times there was a lot of backtracking.
Yeah,
with
definitely.
City,
backtracking
with City. At least with Asylum, a lot of it was you're going here, you do that, and then you have to go somewhere else. There was a bit of backtracking towards the end with Asylum, but with City it was a lot of go into this one building, come out of that building, go to the next building, but go back, then do whatever you have to do in that building and go back to the first building.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's I think they were definitely trying to like mess around, but like I think from all that, like you can definitely say like for Batman Arkham Asylum, it was definitely like an interesting foundation point from like for a lot of the things that we see today with combat. Because I remember one of the slogans like for Batman Arkham Asylum was like you be the Bat, I think, or be the Batman.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the game really did well, was that it was that like it's definitely like a game where you definitely feel like the Batman, because I don't think I've ever felt like Batman in like a long time, because every time I lay the punch or just like stealth, I was gonna say stealth kill, but like I forgot Batman doesn't kill. Not in this version.
In those games, he may as well have with some of the broken bones.
Yeah,
he's
you may as well
them boys. They're better off dead at that point. But no, like
I mean, like touch on what you're saying, like in terms of feeling close to Batman. I think that for them was probably. I mean, I've got no evidence to back this up. Maybe there is a video or an article on it. That was probably their main focus, because again, it's just trying to get the player. The reason we like these characters is because I think on some level we idolize them and want to be them. And again, it's the closest you can be.
Everybody wants to be a guy that has dead parents and beats up people in masks.
No, but you know what I mean. They want the power.
I do want to be a Playboy millionaire.
I know.
But yeah, 100% get what you mean.
But yeah, like, but that's why, like, you think about it, like, how many games nowadays that come out are referred to as like, oh, this is like Batman. This is like
games.
This is like you've got when Lord of the Rings,
Middle of Shadows of Mordor definitely comes up. But then again, I think that game was developed by Warner Bros. So like it definitely.
It was, but like that always got tossed around like, oh, it's just another Batman clone. You have even people were saying about Spider-Man when Spider-Man came out. They were like, well, this is just this is just
the whole spider sense thing, isn't it? And the dodging and stuff.
They were just like, well, this is just Batman's counter, but marveled. It's like
definitely like. So I think we definitely talked quite a bit about Batman Arkham Asylum. You know what? Let's try and like summarize Arkham Asylum. Like,
well, I was going to say before we summarize, we haven't discussed the one thing that's somewhat important to Batman, the costume.
Oh my days!
Yeah. Like, what's everyone's opinion on the costume for the Arkham series? Well, or at least Arkham Asylum before we go on to the other ones.
I'd say like it's a very interesting piece it's a very interesting piece of fabric. Like I like how rubbery it is and how the design comes together. No, I'm kidding. I'm not Gokwan. I'm not gonna like.
I was just gonna say, like, you're gonna get real fashion diva on me, real quick.
No, to be fair though, to touch on generally what you were saying in terms of the fashion stuff and just the way it looks. I mean, it goes very original in terms of. I mean, it's unique. Don't get me wrong, but it's very original in terms of you see the underwear, the underpants, whatever you want to call them, over the top of the trousers, which. I mean, we've seen in a lot of games and stuff don't tend to go that way anymore because they want to try and make it look like cool.
Well, even the movies nowadays aren't doing it. Like
no, exactly. Yeah,
like
Superman's no longer doing it.
Superman stopped doing it. I don't even think Batman. None of the Batman movies lately have done it.
Batfleck's Batman, that was an interesting one because Zack Snyder did say that he loved Frank Miller's Batman, so like he wanted like the fat Batman symbol. I'm not sure what you guys' opinions on that. I personally don't like it.
I love the fat Batman symbol.
To be fair, and I know this is probably a conversation for another podcast, but I mean another episode. It's just, and I don't know if it's controversial for you guys, so I might get a whole what? But I genuinely liked Ben Affleck's Batman in Batman vs Superman.
Yes, this is what I'm saying.
They ruined it in Justice League.
Yes,
they've ruined him.
Do you mean the armored suit?
No,
I don't. I'm not talking clothing. I'm talking character.
Character-wise,
character.
Character-wise.
I think Ben Affleck. He was a good Batman. He was decent Bruce Wayne. He wasn't bad at either.
He was a perfect older Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, in the Dark Knight and like animation and in the comics, he fits that role perfectly. And I know there's a lot of like, oh, but he kills people and stuff. I'm not being funny, but the old Batman. I wouldn't be surprised if he kills people. He's literally almost... If you've seen the animations, he's given up on life. He hates it. So he's... Yep. And I know it's not like... I'm not saying it's a good thing he's doing it or anything like that, but you can expect some extreme reaction like that from Batman. So it's not unexpected. And I mean, I know, again, we're going on a tangent about something else, but it's definitely worth saying that out of all the Batmans, Ben Affleck would not be at the bottom for me.
No.
Yeah, I think even Kevin Conroy praised Ben Affleck's Batman because I think he said something like how Ben Affleck's Batman for once had like pretty much envisioned what Batman actually was. I think don't quote me on that, but like I do remember like Kevin Conroy giving a lot of praise, but I do definitely remember him like criticizing Christian Bale's Batman because. He didn't like the very raspy voice. Well, I can't do it.
It's very... it's so hard, right? Because, I don't want to go into the films because I think the Batman films and other superhero branded films would be a great episode on themselves.
Definitely.
But, I mean, the one thing I will say about Christian Bale's Batman and Ben Affleck's is you can see the realism in Christian Bale's and the comic inspiration in Ben Affleck's. Not that they didn't have that in Christian Bale's, but I feel that they felt it was a lot more important to go realistic with Batman from the Nolan trilogy than it was to go with Ben Affleck's. Because again, with Ben Affleck's, they were setting up a universe, a DC universe. That's what they were doing. So they need to introduce people like Superman and stuff. So they were allowed to have the stuff. But I have been told, and this is true, I know someone who actually worked on the film. True story. I'm not very close to them. I just met them. And he told me that the voice, the Batman voice that Christian Bale does, it is actually altered in post. He does it very close to it, but obviously they do have to alter it to make it a lot more grungy and stuff.
Well, that was interesting. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I didn't actually knew you did that. Like, I'm not sure if you did that during our time in uni or something. If you knew that person when we were at uni or something.
No, before uni. I know a few people. I know someone who, for example, helped make one of Thor's hammers and stuff like that. Like they were like
you would have bloody connections, man.
I don't know. Like I think I've got like the one who made Thor's hammer on Facebook, but I don't like chat to him or anything. I just work with him for like a certain period of time. Nothing massive. But
I think we have to summarize Batman Arkham Asylum. If you had to like describe it in one word, just one word, guys, how would you describe it?
Revolutionary.
I was going to say game changing. I know it's 2 words, but.
With a dash, with a hyphen.
Fuck the system.
Fuck the system. Game changing. Yeah, what about you, Snow?
Well, this is probably end of part 1, guys. Unfortunately, we have to end it here. We'll definitely be continuing with Batman Arkham City, and hopefully we'll probably probably discuss more about Batman because it is a very interesting topic. We should probably spend so much time.
We got more games to talk about.
Oh,
yeah,
so I can see the
and
next few episodes being a lot longer than this one as well. Obviously, we were a bit time constrained on this one, but look forward to the next ones definitely because they will be coming onto the channel or the stream or whatever, however you're viewing this or listening. They will.
It will be somewhere for you to.
I want to thank Keen and Gavin for joining me and I hope you all enjoyed. If you did enjoy, do drop a like and definitely comment on your thoughts on it. And if you don't mind, why don't you also subscribe to the channel, and help Ramlock grow into something amazing. That's right. That's the word I'm going to use.
Subscribe,
amazing.
follow, do what you need to, whatever platform you're on.
All right, guys.
Hit all of the buttons.
What took you so long?
It's over, Joker.
Over? Why, my dear delusional Dark Knight, it hasn't even begun.